Anglophone-Francophone problem in Tonga? That is a question that many inhabitants of Tonga is in the Bagante division of the West region of Cameroon. For 2 days, 3 days, we saw how some Anglophones and some Francophones actually were fighting over a phone. 2 Anglophones were fighting over a phone, and one died, and then we saw how tension actually rose between Anglophones and Francophones in Tonga, and finally 2 people actually died in that unfortunate circumstance in Tonga. Now the question is, we know that we are having already an Anglophone problem, but do we have a problem of living together as a people, as a nation? It's true that the National Brigade in Tonga was vandalized. The divisional officer of Tonga came out. The mayor of Tonga came out. Even the senior divisional officer of Dende division actually came out in Tonga to appease the minds. But I can say now with certainty that after 96 hours or so, peace has returned to Tonga. But are we proud and happy with what is happening? Are we happy to live, to stay as a people, as a nation, as Cameroonians? And then we shall also talk the Kumba massacre, with a death penalty actually levied to 4 suspects. The Kumba massacre, school massacre, it was on the 24th of October 2020, where some Amber boys actually entered into the St. Memorial Teresa College and actually killed 7 students. The Prime Minister of the Republic, Joseph John Gute, was in Kumba to appease the minds. But can we see that with this death penalty given to these 4 suspects, will the families of the victims be appeased? And then finally, the PCC church is persona non grata in Bali. The Amber boys are saying no PCC, no Presbyterian church in Bali, and of course the moderator of the church has equally come out to say the church can exist, but the Presbyterian church will continue to exist even if it is not in Bali. The question is, why should the Amber boys, or why should the separatist fighters actually say no to the church, given that the church is praying for peace to reign and for peace to come back? The program is the Republican debate on Camden's television. As usual, we have men of substance and men of caliber, men of timber. Good evening and welcome to the Republican debate. With us, of course, we have, as I said a while ago, he is coming again here today. They call him, of course, Mbaraoul. Mbaraoul, good evening and welcome.
Good evening
to the Republican debate.
Good evening, Mr. Tabi Clarkson. Good evening to my co-panelists. Good evening to thousands and millions of televiewers on this program, the Republican debate on Camden's television. It's always a pleasure. Empathy. It's always a pleasure to be on this platform.
How is the CRM?
No, CRM is doing well, and I want to use this opportunity to congratulate the defense team of the political prisoners. I'm talking the collective team of Metro Soup, because you see they came out to withdraw the defense team against the political prisoners, for the political prisoners. That's an indication to show that we don't have a legal law in our country, because it should be noted that this decision was welcomed by all the members of the Cameroon Renaissance movement, and to make the public to understand that delayance in law is the refusal of justice.
Anyway, we are not talking the CRM today. We shall organize another debate for that. The time for us to welcome Dr. Cho Waters. Doctor, good evening and welcome to the Republican debate.
Good evening to you, Tabi. Thank you very much for giving me this wonderful opportunity to come and crisscross my words with my co-panelists. With due respect, I also greet them. Permit me say good evening to those who are in the Northwest and the Southwest. And I extend my heartfelt condolences to this person, he was called Norbert, and his job in this war was just to be a tailor, but he was brutally killed last 3 days ago and dumped at Bello Three Corners, Boyo Division, Northwest Region.
Equally with us, of course, is Prince. He's a prince, of course, Prince Epierre Ejede. He's here with us, a principal of many schools in town, a campaign manager equally. Mr. Campaign Manager, equally, he actually doubles again as the National Secretary for Communication, Secretary number 2 of the PAP party. Mr. Communicator, Mr. Principal, Mr. Everything, we say good evening and welcome.
Good evening to you, Mr. Tommy Clarkson. Good evening to the millions of televiewers of Camdis Television. Good evening equally to the co-panelists. Actually, yes, I'm the campaign manager of the English University situated in Etugebe. I want to use this opportunity to dedicate this program to all the students of this wonderful institution. Mr. Tabby Clarkson, I'm very, very delighted that you've invited me for the first time in my casket as the National Communication Secretary and Public Relations number 2 of the Popular Action Party. It's also good that we should also make mention of that. It's very important. So I want to say I believe that at the end of today, the topics are of importance. And I want to say that at the end of today, we shall make a good debate, and also to use this opportunity to greet His Excellency Njangdeni Stabe. I want to say that Mr. Njangdeni Stabe, the National President of the Popular Action Party, is a dynamic young man, a youth who is working very hard to see how things are going to change in this country. I want to use this opportunity to thank him also for giving me, through the National Council of the Popular Action Party, for giving me the possibility to come as a national bureau member in the Popular Action Party. Okay. Thank him for this confidence.
We equally extend our greetings to him, to the president of the PAP party, John Dennis. Well, without any waste of time, today is 11th of September 2021, 11th of September 2001. Today is 2001, 2021. It's 20 years. 20 years after, we are remembering what happened in America, in the United States of America, with the attacks on the World Trade Center. Can we have some images, Rodrigue, of the World Trade Center? The 11th of September with the attacks. No. You can see the attacks. I will begin with you. On that day, where were you?
On that day, I want to say that at this point,
I did some studies about the world terrorism, and I discovered that George Bush went and intervened into Iraq, promising to destroy the Islamic State, and the consequences was to attack US through Bin Laden. Now, they send their forces to Afghanistan. 20 years later, they have withdrawn back their forces from Afghanistan, where the Taliban, having relations with Daesh is another terrorist group, Boko Haram, Al-Shabaab, the Muslim Brothers, and then the Somalian rebels. Plus, in Central African Republic, you have the Seleka, you have the Barakas. Then, when you go to Sahel region, you discover that you have the Ohoros there. Then you have, in the Sahel, you have Sahelian, where Boko Haram signing contracts with that. So brief to conclude, I want to tell you that America has become a powerful country in the world where they send agents to manipulate countries.
Can we see how the images
exploit their underground.
At that position, at that time, I was still in the primary level in school, and we just heard about World Trade Center. We were like asking ourselves that what is World Trade Center all about, but only history has a place for us to come back and realize that it was something that happened because of political issues, which was supposed to be settled amicably, not expecting situation, because we need to understand that this is a lesson learned for us to know that terrorism has no place in the world. And now I expect countries like Cameroon to even come out to declare this day like a morning or a day tell the young generation that terrorism has no place in the world. That is what I expect. Because what happened to in the US can still be something that can happen to any other African country, because the heart of man is on.
It's so that many people actually die on that day. Well, we shall be coming back. The time for us to have the jingle. We shall be coming back. Welcome back, but before we continue, the time for me to welcome Blessed Bebe. Blessed Bebe, good evening. How are you today?
Good evening, Tabi. I'm fine, and it's a pleasure to join you and your panel this Saturday evening to discuss things that are of importance to the nation.
It's so that yesterday, the Minister of Territorial Administration, they call him Paul Atanganji, actually granted a press conference. Can we have an excerpt? He was talking about the police, violence on police officers. Can we have, of course, the excerpt of the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji?
Under the very esteemed guidance of the head of state, His Excellency President Paul Biya, represented by the Delegate General for National Security, Cameroonian police is a well-structured and well-organized corps, present at all levels of the Republic, regions, divisions, and subdivisions. Day and night, the police work relentlessly to ensure the security of persons and their property. In the event of any disagreement between a police officer and an individual, the complaint should be addressed to the police hierarchy. When the accusations against a police officer are founded, only the police hierarchy is empowered to apply sanctions against defaulting officers in accordance with internal regulations of the Corps and in line with the laws in force. Therefore, no citizen or no person, regardless of their social status, for whatsoever reason, has the right to assault a police officer on duty. That could be considered as jungle justice, which we all know has no place in Cameroon. Insulting or assaulting a police officer on duty or refusing to obey instructions is unacceptable. The Delegate General for National Security here present has always given a listening ear to alleged or founded excesses. To publicly attack a police officer or any security officer on duty shall hereafter be considered as a casus belli. Regional governors have been instructed to handle irresponsible persons who attack police officers on duty. It should be made abundantly clear that from the foregone, if an individual is caught assaulting a police officer, they shall face the heavy arm of the law. There is no point trying to escape after such an irresponsible behavior, for a hungry snake will come looking for you in your hideout.
We have all listened to the Minister of Territorial Administration. I'll begin with you, Prince Ejide. What is your remark on that? Is the police corps not a friend today? Why? And so on and so on.
The problem, Mr. Tabi, with the police force in Cameroon is that many police officers, on the contrary, instead assault Cameroonians. That is what is happening in the field, contrary to what the Minister of the Territorial Administration is saying. So I want to say that last week, Mr. Tabi Clarkson, coming back from animating a pedagogic seminar, I was being arrested by the police. I was being arrested by the police.
You do not have your ID card?
I had my national, Mr. Tabi Clarkson, how can a Cameroonian, the National Communication Secretary, #2 of a political party, move without a national ID card? What do you think? Presented myself to the police as a principal of a school in Yaoundé. I was taken to the police station, detained, and about 10 a.m. in the morning, called in the commissioner office, and I was released. For what reason? I want to say that the Minister of Territorial Administration and the delegate of public security should protect Cameroonians. You should go out there and see the way Cameroonians are being assaulted. I want to say that the superintendent of police comes and meets me. I present myself to him, and then he tells me that we, the Anglophones, we should be careful. What was he saying? What was he saying? That we, the Anglophones, should be careful. Are Anglophones not part of this country? Is this country divided? It is linking us to our topic of today. So I feel very comfortable talking about this topic of today, Mr. Tabi Clarkson. So contrary to what the Minister of Territorial Administration is saying, he should caution his police officers and tell his police officers to protect Cameroonians, because Cameroonians are not feeling as if the police is their friend. Mr. Tabi Clarkson. Cameroonians are not feeling if the police is their friend, of which the police needs to be their friend. I want to say that I have many friends who are police officers. The only people in this Yaoundé that I can applaud for the job that they do is those traffic police officers, who I see them in the morning when children are going to school, as they work relentlessly to make sure that the traffic and they protect the city. But all those the other ones who go and control vehicles, they are just there to take their 500,000 francs. And no, Mr. Tabi, is very important. I want to say that they are going there to take their 500 francs from taxi drivers, and when the taxi driver refuses to give money, it becomes now a fight between them. But when the fight now ensues, it will be now that it is Cameroonians who are assaulting police officers. Police officers should know that we are paying them, because it is our taxpayers' money that we pay them. But they are being paid with our taxpayers' money, and they need to protect Cameroonians.
Dr. Cho, Your reaction after hearing the Minister of Territorial Administration?
My reaction will not be different from that of the National Secretary Number 2 of the Popular Action Party. I can tell you that I've never witnessed any misbehavior of a police officer. I've always had good police officers, but my friends have always been victims of some police officers. Now, the question now is, why is it that they behave as such? Because that is my point of focus. I'm a researcher, and when there is a societal issue as such, I don't just handle the end, I handle the beginning of the end. To tell you that police officers in Cameroon, first of all, have poor living conditions and poor working conditions, which provokes the anger towards the Cameroonians. For example, like in Equatorial Guinea, I have a friend that is an inspector of police. He has 400,000 francs per month. The same inspector of police in Cameroon has 250,000 francs. When you go down to police constable, 75 to 85, 90,000 francs with allowances, you go to Equatorial Guinea, 250,000 francs. Okay, now, somebody who is just a police constable or first grade police constable, and you send a person to the road to control people who have doctorate degrees, bachelor's degrees, advanced level, and maybe who are politicians. And when he wants to do his job, you want to teach him morals. What will be his reaction? It will be brutal to you, because he knows that he earns very little at the end of the month. His working condition, he lives in a very small room at Bonassi in Yaoundé and pays 15,000 francs per month, has 3 children that are going to school and cannot afford. He must take bribe of 500 francs, and if you don't give the bribe of 500 francs, 1,000 francs, he will brutal. The
Minister of Territorial Administration is saying that you should stop assaulting.
I wanted to start from the causes. That the causes.
Cameroonians don't assault police officers. It should be very clear.
That the provocation comes from the police themselves. Because of the way the Cameroon government treat them. And I call the Director General of National Security to take care of his police. Some of them are not charismatic. Those who are charismatic are inside in the offices. And they send just people who are coming on the road, who are not ready to confront citizens. But we have good ones. Majority are bad and they take bribe because the Cameroon government is not able to pay them. Then to the minister side, section 226 and 280 of the penal code. Good and fine. But now, if you say they will send somebody to prison from 5 to 10 years and from 1 month to 3 years, how would that help solve the problem? Give jobs to those Cameroonians, because the person riding back and the taxi man, they have great diploma, get great diplomas, but the police people, they have no diploma and they want to teach them morals, and that is where the problem lies.
Okay, now we have heard the time for us to take, of course, Bless Bebe. Bless Bebe, after the minister. Okay, Bless Bebe.
No, I think that we need to have a broader discussion. We need to look at this from a lot more sides than we are seeing. What is happening, in my opinion, is part of a broader crisis, a crisis of authority, that we are all facing as a people. You understand? Now, in the past, I should say in the past 10 years, there have been many recruitments into the police. And it's a good thing. When you move around the streets today, you see police people, young boys and girls who are in the police corps. It could also happen to the teaching corps. It could also happen to whatever corps, but those are people who are in contact with the public. And what happens is that, one, okay, Joe Waters and my other brother have said that the police are at the forefront of the provocation. You understand? But what the law says is that even in the case of that provocation, you shouldn't attack the police officer. And it is a broader problem of civility in citizenship. Let me tell you, if you go out of here and insult somebody, the next moment you people will pick up a fight. You understand? So I don't want us to look at it as only a problem between the police and the citizens. It's actually a problem of degrading morality in our society. So much so that somebody is wearing a police uniform
and is no longer, does not even understand what it means to be a police officer. You understand? Now,
the police is no longer a friend to the debate.
I like the French name for constable, gardien de la paix. It literally translates to somebody who is keeping the peace, who is preserving the peace, who steps out in the morning in the aim, in the objective of keeping public peace. That's the meaning.
Is the police still a friend?
No, what I'm saying is that it is not about a police being a friend, no. I'm saying that our society is facing a crisis. A policeman who goes out there and does not understand his mission. A citizen who goes out there and does not understand that I have a certain minimum respect that I should reserve for a police officer just because he's wearing that uniform. Now, what happened in Douala where the traffic policeman got into a fight with some other person? We now hear that the other person was also a security officer, either as a gendarme or maybe a soldier or whoever. So now take that case. Both of them are security officers. If one security officer who is dressed in civil outfit is ready to fight a policeman who is on service, would you now say that the police is no longer a friend? So I think that it's a problem that has to be solved. The minister comes out to say that people should respect police officers. Yeah, he's playing his role. But it is a problem that needs a bigger, deeper, and more a profound solution.
Yes, let's take Mba Raoul, the police of today, no longer a friend.
Mr. Tabi, I would like on this question, I think I will need to chew my words and very carefully, because if you want to analyze the past 5 years back, you discover that this issue of police brutality with civilians is something that's happening within the period of about, let's say, from 2020 to 2021. Whereas in the case, let's say in 2018, the case was not the same. It was difficult for us to even see on a median, seeing an individual having an encounter with the police. That is to tell you that the police, they have lost that credibility. So when I follow the minister's speech, he said for quite some time, he has observed the population brutalizing civilians. They are out. We are very conscious of the fact that they are out to protect us. But now at a certain point, because it's not all to come and give declaration, at a certain point you yourself, because I even expect but the minister delegate to give that declaration, at a certain point you pause and ask that, but why? At this particular period of time, things were not the same compared to the past. What is happening? Because it's not all the time that you just come and say that.
What is happening there?
No, what I'm saying
is happening back.
I think that it's because of the credit. That is, they at a certain point, they need to pose a question within themselves, like they hold a meeting instead of coming to blame the population, because all the time it's always they are right. I expect them to even go back and try to see how they hold an extraordinary session, set a date, and see how you can caution them.
Certainly they are having
because what the minister, that's what I'm saying here, Mr. Tabi, we should be honest. What I'm saying, that declaration that the Minister of Territorial Administration came and gave, he has given those police the right. Don't look from now. And if the minister is not very careful, like I've said it, they should dissolve this call. Because if they are not very careful, what happened with the SAR? Mr. Tabi, please. Because the same thing happened in Nigeria.
That's the point.
The same thing happened in Nigeria, and the population keep on.
The police was dissolved in Nigeria.
It was dissolved.
No, a unit.
It was a unit. I'm talking about the SAR.
Yeah,
and the population keep on complaining.
That's the point.
Keep on complaining.
But
the president came out and said that.
It led to a crisis.
Yes, it led to a crisis.
But they should dissolve
and
the
now,
police.
if we are not careful, because Mr. Tabi, if we are not careful, the power that has been given to this police, if we are not careful, the situation that we are talking now can put this country down.
Okay.
Because not everyone will be able to. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Mr. Tabi Clarkson, as a communicator that I am, we should be very careful when we are dealing with issues of communication. If you look at the temperament that the Minister of Territorial Administration was using to pass that message, the words. Let me tell you, we are talking of a minister in this country whose words are making people to be dying today in the north and the south. Let's be very clear. Cameroonians need to respect Cameroonians. They need to respect Cameroonians. I've not seen Cameroonians not respecting the police. Do you know the authority that the police use on Cameroonians? A police officer meets you on the road, to tell you in a calm manner that please go this way, but pass it. No, please, I just want to.
We cannot talk all at the same time. It's just a subtopic.
Mr. Tabi Clarkson,
not a topic.
We are saying that this country, Cameroon, is for Cameroonians. And I've always said that we live in a country of oligarchy. And since we are living in a country of oligarchy, that is how we are being governed. Look at the type of communication that the Minister of Interior,
I'm telling you,
a Minister of Interior comes to transmit to the population.
Okay,
to make the population to understand that the police are not their friend. No, listen. Mr. Tabi, the question you're asking is very important.
Very important.
No, the question you're asking is very important.
We discuss important issues here.
So in a nutshell, Mr. Tabi, that's why I always tell you that I love the concept of this program, the Republican debate. We are in the Republic. And if we are in the Republic, we need to respect Republican values.
Yeah, Republican values need to be respected. Bless me.
No, we are all saying the same thing. You understand? But I am saying that this is part of a more profound problem that needs to be addressed. And you cannot absolve citizens of their own responsibility. Look, in a civilized society, if a policeman misbehaves towards you, it is your responsibility not to respond. If a policeman because the point is this: if we were going to go to a court of law, he brutalized you, you assaulted him. That's how the law sees it. He has committed he has done one thing wrong. You have done something wrong. But I bet you that before the court, you are going to be more liable than him because he's a policeman, he's an officer, he's in uniform. So I just want to say that the minister, has he ever spoken in a different way? Have you ever heard Minister Tanganji talk in a different way than he spoke yesterday? He's always talking like that. You understand? So, but let's not simplify the problem. Okay. It's a serious problem. Like he said, it can lead to a breakdown in society. But citizens are also as responsible as the police for what is happening. Do you know what people do to policemen? Do you know? And sometimes there are people in authority. There are people in authority who disrespect. Who are the people who are always going across, breaking the traffic lights? Sometimes people think that they are above the law. So they too are facing a problem. And this problem cannot be solved if it is not an understanding that there is a need for a higher grade of citizenship. Okay. These people are also citizens.
They are also
they
are also citizens. We are concluding on this. Each speaker will have just 30 seconds. I begin with you, Dr. Cho. 30 seconds, please. The police.
No, Cameroon should solve its problems and the police force will function normally because the provocative words coming from the Minister of Territorial Administration suffer from a problem of communication. Who should communicate what? The National Delegation of Public Security has...
the General Delegate for...
the General Delegate for National Security, if you want, as a Secretary General. Who should communicate on what issue and how and when? That's the problem Cameroon has now. It's because the system is expired that we are seeing all these consequences. The government should solve its own problems. Okay, we will not assault police.
30 seconds are over. 30 seconds.
Mr. Tabi Clarkson, the police officers should respect Cameroonians. Cameroonians are loving people and respectful people. The Minister of Territorial Administration also should rethink his manner of communication. There is too much harm today which is being going on in Cameroon because of this Minister of Territorial Administration. I'm saying it in the depth of my heart. I've had brothers and sisters who have died in the north and the south because of such communications. Okay. So it is high time we stop and respect Cameroonians.
Mr. Tabi, to be very honest with you, I will still emphasize on the Minister of Communication to make sure that... Minister of Territorial Administration to make sure that he should be able to manage this call. Because they heard that these guys are giving to the population in orders. I'm saying, for example, to leave Bambili, the University of Bambili, to reach at Central Town, you will see about
10 controls and each and everyone is entitled 1,000 francs. It is mandatory. And tomorrow when the police will stand in front of someone, do you think that individual will respect?
Of course.
It's a problem. So I expect him to caution them. Since he said he has instructed the governor in each region. So I expect the governor of each region to caution those in collaboration with the regional delegate for national security to caution all these policemen. Okay. Because if we are not careful, I've said it, this call will be dissolved.
Okay. Yeah, last word on this.
I think that the police too need to look into their call, and there are serious problems. There are serious problems. Sometimes I even see how a policeman is dressed. Sometimes you're passing the street, you see a policeman who is shabbily dressed. So you're asking yourself, how come? So I think that there is work that has to be done within the corps. And while they are doing their duty, citizens must understand that you must respect the police, come what may.
You must respect the police. The police, of course, is an institution. We need to respect the police. Well, the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Ataranji, has said it. Well, we now move on to our next topic. We are talking inter-ethnic tribal differences. Can we say that we have a problem of living together in Cameroon today? But before that, can we have this report about the situation in Tonga? The report first.
Peace and tranquility have returned to Tonga. Tonga subdivision is located in the Bagante division of the west region of Cameroon. Within 3 days, beginning Sunday, September 5th, a conflict between Anglophones and Francophones broke out over a misunderstanding between two friends.
A young man here in Tonga died because he has been wounded by some people in the night. The brigade commander alerted. Later in the morning, some people encountered someone trying to go out from the city, and on his clothes there were enough blood. Then they took him and tried to ask to him some questions, and he could not say something correct. Then they decided to conduct this man to the brigade. Unfortunately, the same people came to the town and tell the whole town the man who killed their brother, their friend, is at the brigade. Less than 30 minutes later, the brigade the whole town were here in the brigade. An amount of young boys, particularly violent, asked to the brigade commander to give them this guy so that they can apply their own justice.
Vehicles, the gendarmerie brigade in Tonga, and other items were vandalized by these boys who wanted to create a so-called Anglophone, Francophone problem in Tonga, which does not exist.
After the situation, there are measures that our hierarchy prescribe, and these people, whatever happens, will be presented in front of the justice to answer about what they did. It's not a matter of a situation between Francophones and Anglophones.
No, it's foolish. It's not possible here. Yes, good country, good for Bamileke and Anglophone. There's no Anglophone here, there's no Bamileke. Yes, Tonga people.
A security peace meeting is scheduled for today between the divisional officer, the mayor, security officials, traditional leaders, and religious leaders of Tonga in order to prevent such an escalation of conflict as the one that inhabitants of Tonga witnessed for over 3 days.
Well, that was the situation in Tonga. Certainly you follow the news, Blessed Baby. I'll begin with you. Can we say that we are having a problem of living together today in Cameroon?
Permit me, first of all, Tabi, to congratulate you for that report. You know that I teach conflict-sensitive journalism, and I think that the report did not give the floor for anybody from the both sides to express themselves. You stayed with the police officer, with the authorities, and I think it's a good thing. Now, first of all, historically, we must understand that when our grandparents and ancestors were living in what is today called Cameroon, they didn't aspire for a time, or they didn't know that a time will come when they will have to move away from their little tribal entities to go somewhere to study or to seek services. So we are not, first of all, conceived as a nation. What we call Cameroon today did not exist as a nation. The state came in from the time of colonization right to independence, and then after independence, the first leaders of the country tried to now move this entity towards what we call a nation state, which has not yet happened, which has not been achieved. So, first of all, we cannot not live together. We have a vocation. By the fact that our villages are side by side, it means that we must live together. Secondly, because we now have a national entity which we call Cameroon, and we have an identity that we brandish as Cameroonians, we have the obligation, it is mandatory, it is impossible not to live together.
Not to live together.
You understand?
It's a must.
They are not willing to justify to Cameroonians, like the 2018 presidential election, which the inability for certain politicians to prove to Cameroonians that they won the elections. Now, they decide to incite what they call tribalism. That is a public official. The inability for him to prove. I'm talking about the regime in place.
No, we are not talking elections today.
It is, Mr.
We are not talking elections today.
The topic, it is a very interesting topic.
Yes, very interesting.
It's a very interesting topic. But I want to bring in light how the regime in place is making that is difficult for us to live together. Now, in the inability for the regime to prove to Cameroonians that he won the election, he decided to incite what they call the Betty, the Bamileke issue, which is something that is eating Cameroonian now. Because as that patriotic Mr. Tabi,
I know that you are from the
Mr. Tabi, I'm pleading. Mr. Tabi, I'm that patriotic Cameroonian. Yes. At a certain point, I decided to champion that. But how can I unite my people together? Let's see how we can bring a lasting solution to this problem. And being on the field, I discovered one of those problems is tribalism.
Okay, we have heard you.
Like now, the issue that happened in Tonga, you discover that it was this, that is the population took that individual and handed it to the gendarme. But now, later on, he handed it to the gendarme. And later on now, because he went further, and they said, oh, that guy is an Anglophone. They had to turn and go behind now to attack. You discover the case because certain Anglophones politician has decided to remain on top. That there is no problem in Northwest and Southwest.
Mr. Tabi,
it becomes a problem of living together.
Please.
I want to say.
Just give the day one minute.
Maybe what I'm going to say is going to help my brother to make his point. He has raised the debate a step further, and I think it's a good thing to talk about the problems we are facing are problems of equality of opportunity, equality of outcome. You remember George Orwell's very popular book Animal Farm, where old Major says that all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. You understand? It is that feeling that now we should be able to aspire to the same opportunities. I think that is what I forget his name. Prince. I think that is what Prince is calling eating together. Meaning that life in a nation, if we aspire to a nation, should be structured in such a way that if you do what it takes, if you follow the processes that are outlined, you can have equal chances like everybody. So I should not come. Let me tell you something. It is when I came to Yaoundé in 2005 for the first time that I really understood that I was Anglophone. When I came to the university, that is when I understood. All through, I went to primary school in Santa, went to secondary school in Kumba. When I came to Yaoundé for the first time and I went to the amphitheater, I now understood that there was a problem. And then we who were English speaking started coming together to find solutions to the fact that we were not understanding lessons in French. So when people start coming together to find solutions because they understand that there is a lack of equality of opportunity, we start having the problems that Cho Waters is talking about. So I just wanted to say this so that before Prince come to...
Yeah, we are concluding on this.
Yes, we are concluding.
30 seconds, please.
I'll give you, permit me for 1 minute. I know that you have never refused me anything.
Yes, 1 minute. One minute.
For me to digest.
Yeah, 1 minute.
Exactly. Now, it is very important that we say this, and we have always been saying it, that those that, I will go back to those that took this country, those that have this country hostage, taking this country hostage, and they failed to think Cameroon. That's true. Because they failed to think Cameroon. That is what is happening today in the north and the south, where people are dying. They failed to think Cameroon. That is why when you go to all of us, we lived in the amphitheaters, Anglophone, Francophone. Yes. We saw that when we were growing up, I come from Tombel, which is a cosmopolitan town. The mayor in Tombel hails from the Bamileke region. It means that she's Francophone by origin.
From the west?
From the west.
Okay.
I beg your pardon.
Don't
it
say
means
Bamileke region.
It was also good that I bring mention. So it means that
of the west.
We don't really have that problem of living together. But the problem is, those
instead of eating together.
The problem, no, Mr. Tabik, let me go to the end. I'm not even saying what I want.
We don't have the whole day. We don't have the whole day for that.
Mr. Tabik Classic.
Yes.
Mr. Tabik Classic. Look at what is happening in Tumbo, Dongamantu, between Tumbo and Jiro. Do you know that that case has gone to several courts, of which there is a judgment on that case, but the Prime Minister of this republic is still allows, because a new fauna emerges in Jirong, and then comes now to massacre a population because they think that
you are talking of the Prime Minister? What does he?
I'm saying that the Prime Minister, it is in his competence to make for the judgment that has been given to the Tumbo people for it to be applicable. Nobody is above the law in the republic. Mr. Tabik Classic. No, it is very important. That is why I'm saying that the government itself is the one who is fabricating this issue of division in Cameroon.
Okay,
to an extent, Mr.
Dr. Cho.
Look at the composition, look at soon there will be a cabinet reshuffle. Look at the composition even in the cabinet. You realize that opposition political parties are being targeted and being sidelined in the running of the affairs of their country. That's very good at
Dr. Cho.
To also know that.
Dr. Cho, your last 30 seconds on this, please.
Yes, I wish to say that by virtue of constitution, we are bound to live anywhere we go in Cameroon.
That's true.
But fundamentally and logically, I will say that we are together but not living.
Yes. We are together but not living. Your 30 seconds, Mba.
I think after the deliberation, I think it is a place as patriotic citizens of this country to keep away our political interests and see how we can develop our country. It will go a long way. Let's forget about this issue of tribalism. The government in place is trying to incite that, and that has been one of the problems that is really affecting us. This issue of tribalism.
We should put tribalism aside. We are a people, we are a nation, we are a republic. We must live together. I am blessed with
it. Yeah, we must live together. And just to say that these are not things that are solved by speeches. No, they are solved by a comprehensive approach. When a government, a leadership takes upon itself to ensure that we can look into the problems that we have and find ways of solving them. I've spoken about equality of opportunity and equality of outcome. Ensure that people can compete on a level ground. That is what it means to build a nation.
Now let's move to our next topic. We are talking the Kumba school massacre. On the 24th of October 2020, students were shot in school in Kumba, and this week judgment was passed by a court in Buea sentencing to death 4 suspects. Do you follow that information, Dr. Cho?
Yes, I even had the 2 lawyers of the accused persons of Fundas Barrister Ato Walters and Barrister Ekosi. And they told me that they will appeal the case, so you people should not be afraid. But will that stop the overspilling of blood in the north and the southwest? Will that solve the Anglophone problem? That is where I come in to answer your question. We have seen the Ngabu massacre 14th of February 2020, just 7-8 months after we had the one in Kumba, precisely October 2020. Those who were tried for acts of terrorism, secession, murder, illegal possession of arms and ammunition were picked up at random. I know one that left Manjo to Kumba to take his belongings, and back to Manjo he was arrested. Now, at the analysis of the substance of the issue, you will understand that section 222 of the Penal Code gives the authority the right for them to be sued to a military court. I strongly agree. Section 223 now says that for them to be executed publicly, the President of the Republic has to pronounce. It last happened in 1997.
Yeah, in 1997.
So if the President of the Republic, if he does not give an order, they cannot be executed. I call that provocations. Because the consequence will be that all the courts will be burned down and school will be stopped in Northwest and the Southwest. That is my forecast. I always work on the ground.
Okay, death penalty. Do you say that they should not give them death penalty?
I'm saying that it is not the right time to give them death penalty because we have not solved the Anglophone problem. And I'm coming back to tell you that the issue, the case at the Boya Military Court was in violation of Section 336 and Section 308. Please permit me say it. I know you are running away because you know who will call you after the program. Section 336. Before they should be tried, before they are tried, they must be foolproof. There were no witnesses in court. 308, we must need foolproof, and 336, there must be witnesses. Those people were absent.
Okay, we
have people who killed pregnant women and they burnt children in Gabu, 14 February 2020. They were not also tried for murder. Those who are committing extrajudicial killings in North and South, they are not tried for murder. Those who embezzled around the 80 billion francs for COVID-19 money, they were not tried for murder. So we should stop the killings in the North and South. We should stop the killings in the Northwest and Southwest. What? The death penalty for 4 suspects in the
Mr. Tabi
massacre.
Mr. Tabi Clarkson, they should solve the problem in the Northwest and the Southwest. That is where the problem is. Now, the question I'm asking, these 4 people that have been sentenced with death penalty, are they the Ambers that are fighting? Are they the Amber boys that are fighting? That is the question that I'm asking. I want somebody to give me answers. That is the question I'm asking Mr. Tabi Clarkson.
It's a rhetorical question you're asking.
No, because the real killers are them to massacre the population. They are there to massacre the population, and they give death penalties maybe to suspects. Because you are saying that suspects. Where are the people that killed these children in Kumba on the 24th of October last year? Where are they? Now, people were being killed in Gabu. People were being killed in Gabu before this incident. Where are they? They have not. Where is the judgment? We have been waiting to hear the judgment. There is no judgment that has been passed. No, Mr. Tabi Clarkson.
Maybe it's a gradual process. Justice is gradual.
Mr. Tabi Clarkson, we are talking of pregnant women who were being killed. Somebody that could become the future president of the country to remove us from this anarchy that Cameroonians have been that have been packaged into. Mr. Tabi Clarkson, where are we going to in this country? Okay. It is very good that we tell this government that the people of the Northwest and the Southwest deserve to live a better and a peaceful life. Let me tell you what is happening in the North and Southwest. It is deliberately being left by this government.
We are coming back to you. We are coming back to you. We are coming back to you. Let me go to the end of my. We are coming back to you. We are coming back to you. Bless me be.
See, when politicians are talking, because we are talking about our politicians, we are forgetting that these 2 people, they are active politicians. When politicians are talking, look, let us first start by expressing again our condolences to these families. To these families who are still paining from what happened in Kumba on that fateful day in October. It's a gruesome, it's a terrible thing.
7 children died on that day.
Yes. But now when we come to talk about, it's a very long time I've not heard about the death penalty. I don't think that you are asking us to give an analysis or an appraisal of the trial.
No.
Yeah, because I don't know anything about the trial. I don't know when they were arrested. I don't know when they were taken to the military tribunal.
The death penalty was, the last time was in 1996.
So I've not heard. But now, the use of the expression suspects is when you are brought before the judge. If the judge has condemned them, it means that the judge has found outstanding evidence that they were the people who perpetrated this act.
And they were not evidence.
So from my position, I cannot give an appraisal of the court session. But if Chowota says that the bar, of course, they cannot say any other thing. They are the defending barristers. They cannot say any other thing. They will defend their clients. If they say that they are going to appeal the decision, then we are going to wait to see what happens when they appeal.
But that penalty they deserve.
But
Can we say they deserve?
Tabi, what we should say unequivocally, whoever is perpetrating those killings, murders, kidnappings in the Northwest and Southwest, on whatever side you belong, you need to be condemned.
Yeah.
Because when we speak here, it will seem as if we are struggling to caress. If these people who were brought before the court are those who were responsible for that gruesome murder in Kumba, they deserve to be punished to the highest degree. Let us say so. Whoever, whether you are military, whether you are secessionist, whether you are a civilian, if you are carrying a gun and killing people in the Northwest and Southwest, you deserve to be punished.
Would that end there?
We are coming to you. The Kumba massacre, death penalty, we are talking of death penalty.
Mr. Tabi, please, I want to use this opportunity as militant of the Cameroon Renaissance movement to sympathize with the family of those that lost their life in the Kumba massacre, and to remind the population that during that incident, the CRM and under the leadership of Professor Maurice Kamto call on the population, mindful of their political or religious affiliation, to honor 29th of October as a national mourning day, and equally to dress in black, because it is the situation is a situation that it calls for concern, and we say that situation should be the last that will happen again.
It should never happen again.
It should never happen again. So let's dress in black on the 29th of October.
It was on the 24th or 25th.
No, it happens on the 24th.
Yeah.
But we of the Cameroon Renaissance movement call on the population
on the 29th
to honor the 29th. Mr. Tabi, you know, when the incident happened, we of the CRM, we condemn it and we ask for an independent investigation to be opened up. Because if you look at our judicial system in Cameroon, you discover that it is not independent. So we were asking for an international independent body to come and come so that they can see that perpetrator should be brought to justice. And in a trial, when you look at section 2, according to the anti-terrorism law of the penal code, you discover that what issues on terrorism is a complicated issue which need not only to be opened by the advocate. If it was possible, an independent organization from out of the country can come in collaboration with the judicial system that we have in Cameroon. So, but on the death penalty, which I see that not to be independent, because the procedure on which the legal procedure was not is not guaranteed to make sure that the report that we are getting about death penalty is independent, because it can still be political. Because I am saying that it can be political because the government can use it as a strategy.
Politicians always say politics anywhere.
What I'm saying is it can be political for the sake to avoid future incident. But I want to call on the government to understand that despite the fact that you pass certain judgment like death penalty, the same individual has certain rights, which is the right to appeal. That is,
of course, they have 10 days to do so.
They have 10 days to do so.
They have 10 days to do so.
And upon the 10 days, they must be made sure that they should be treated in provide a health facility.
There's no problem. There's no problem with
that. What I'm saying is there is an advocacy against that. I'm still coming to that. There is an advocacy. There is an advocacy against death penalty, according to the international criminal, and Cameroon has been among Cameroon has rectified a lot of treaties against that. So we are expecting the president of this country, because we are the president of the country must give a final declaration. They cannot just go and we're asking the president of this country to play a Republican value, to respect Republican value, to make sure that. Because if you are joining it, Mr. Tabi, if this country join, if this government finally execute those people, That is to demonstrate to the world that we are operating in a dictatorial and
okay, we are
true. We cannot accept that. Presidential
You see, Tabi, you know, when you gave me the floor, I started by saying that I cannot make an appraisal of the judgment, because sometimes we should be honest and humble to say that that judicial procedure, we did not follow it. I cannot make an appraisal. But now to come about the death penalty, the court of first instance, that is a military tribunal, but it is at first instance, has sentenced these guys to death. There is going to be an appeal. You understand? It can move up the ranks right to the court of last instance. So we cannot start bringing. You don't need to start bringing the president of the republic into whatever he has to say that the people should know. Come on, please. Let's be. The law says that when commenting on judicial procedures, we should be measured about what we say, because
the law is open. It's open to us to every Cameroonian. Laws are not private.
You have said that there is an appeal, right?
No, there is an appeal.
Okay. That there is an appeal. So come on.
Let's the friend of the Pakistan. Let's wait for
the problem is we don't know if there will be an appeal.
Tabi, please, Tabi. What if the people who have been condemned were actually the ones who carried out that act?
And will that
it's supposed to be so should the judicial system stop working because of the problem?
With the Anglophone problem be solved, if that
so all crimes being committed in the northwest and southwest should not be prosecuted because it will not solve the problem.
If the problem is solved, it will not be there.
What are you talking about?
Okay. Let's take this last topic and
no, it is good that you can
give him my time. Give him my time. I'm not talking.
I will not go back home to tell the televiewers.
You are wasting time. No, you are wasting time.
I want to say what I want to say is that
yes,
the government of this country, in complicity with some Anglophones, have decided to massacre a whole part of this country, which is the northwest and the southwest. It's a master story. No wait, it's a whole book. Because what is going now, we are already on the 5th year of the conflict. We are saying that you brought in an international relations expert. It means that one of the things that he teaches is conflict. I want to say that in conflict, for a conflict to be solved, which has taken 5 years, we take 20 years to solve that conflict.
There is no problem with that.
No, it is a very big problem.
There is no problem with that.
No, it's a big problem.
So we shall organize another debate for that.
So we are saying that the more this crisis continue, the more they are putting the Anglophone community of this country into bondage. Okay, because they want to enslave them. No, it's good. They want to enslave them in complicity with some Anglophones who are feeding fat with their big stomachs in this government. It is high time, Mr. Tabi. It is high time that this government stop this crisis, because it's a political problem.
Can we move on to our third topic? We have 5 minutes to discuss this. We are talking the PCC church in Bali. You follow that incident, Bless Bebe? I'll begin again with you, Bless Bebe. The PCC church, Amber Boys or the separatist fighters are saying no PCC in Bali. It's regrettable.
No, it's regrettable. You remember last time when I was on the program, we said that people should also be careful.
There
are things that are sacred. There are things that are sacred. And it's unfortunate that sometimes even church leaders don't understand the role that they are supposed to play.
Separatists, there's S at the end, CS at the end, please. Yeah.
The people don't understand the role that they are supposed to play as church leaders. The church should be that conciliatory body that is welcoming, that people can go to, that people can talk to. You understand? And now, when I followed what they said, I just simply say that we have lost our moral compass. You remember the debate that we had here the last time, saying that we have lost our moral compass. People can attack churches. People can go into churches and desecrate churches and attack and spill blood. But when we get to that level, what are we expecting? What are we expecting? So if you now say that the church should not operate, why? Why should
I've heard people to go and pray?
People should be able,
the peace that we need.
People should even be able to go and console themselves that they are in church. It is their freedom. It is the freedom of religion is a fundamental human right, which is enshrined by all international and even national instruments. So I think that we have misplaced priorities. We are just attacking anybody, anything, and doing whatever.
Please, Roger, we should have the topic on the screen, please. Dr. Cho.
Thank you very much. It is something that I know they do say very well because just from 2 weeks ago, every 2 weeks I go to my village. In fact, the way I will talk here, some people think that I deal with those guys. It is just the fruit of my labor that I do on the ground. All what we are, this topic is leading us to the Anglophone question. We have left the Anglophone problem that will never be solved, and this is the consequence of the Anglophone problem. Now, we have about 5 dangerous groups that are in the northwest and the southwest, known in the virtual media as Ground Zero. And one of them is the Buffaloes group that is in Bali that has banned the Presbyterian Church by their commander called Grandpa. It's all started when Reverend Funky Samuel, and if he is listening to me now, I advise you, my father, to think twice because things are getting out of hand. In fact, he has chosen the side of the oppressor, and that is why his church has been banned in Bali. It all began when the Anglophone Crise started in 2016, and Reverend Funky Samuel with some Muslim religious leaders and some other religious leaders took the side of the Anglophone to fight for the cause, and government arrested them and locked them up. And after they were released, and if they don't choose the side of the government, they will be for the separatists. And now their church has to be banned. The worst of it is that the moderator would have kept quiet.
Are you supporting that the church?
I'm in analysis. Yeah. I'm in analysis that.
But now I'm asking a question.
The church should be neutral in the Anglophone crisis, because the moderator has chosen the side of the oppressor, and General Grandpa in Bali has banned his church. The worst of it is that he has said his Christians should move to mosque, to go to Catholic and to Baptist, and that
Dr. Cho, you as a Cameroonian,
yes,
of good faith, because I know that you are of good faith. Tell us, are you saying that people should not go to church on Sunday to pray in Bali?
They should respect the laws of those who are in the northwest and the southwest if they don't want to be killed. That's what I can say.
Which laws? Which laws?
When I go to Bamenda, I cannot drink Brasserie product. I cannot go out on Monday. I cannot go to church that has been banned. I will be killed. I'm talking about what I'm seeing in Bamenda. I'm not talking about what is happening in the whole country. We have different points of views. Me, I'm talking about what I live on.
I would like to take your point of view. We are concluding already. We have 3 minutes. We are concluding.
Mr. Tabi Clarkson,
yes.
The second topic is linked to the third topic. Hello. It's all about the Anglophone crisis. We are saying that it is a political problem. And as one of the voices, Mr. Tabi Clarkson,
let's come to the church. We are talking the church, please.
And as one of the voices, or one of the main voices of the Popular Action Party, because I'm spokesperson number 2 of the Popular Action Party, we are saying that we should come back to a federation in this country for all these problems to be solved.
The church. People should not go to church.
The problem
are you giving reasons to this?
If I say people should go to church here, I want to tell you I'm a Presbyterian Christian. If I tell people to go to church, will they go to the church? Will they go to the church? If I say, okay, Christians, go to church, will they go? The problem which is plaguing, which is happening, that one general, they call him, I don't know where he took a rank, that General Grandpa, says that people should not go. It's a shame that we see people, civilians, just emerge and then come that they are generals. Where are we? It is not even giving a good image for this country. Somebody, no, Mr. Tabi Clarkson,
we don't have the whole day. We don't have the whole day.
You don't want me to talk.
Because we have said the essential.
Which essential, Mr. Tabi Clarkson? We are saying that it's a political problem, and today we will have a political solution. This problem will still be plaguing the Anglophone.
You have 30 seconds. We are concluding, please.
Mr. Tabi Clarkson.
We are talking the church in Bali, about the PCC.
The truth is, church have a vital role to play during conflict resolution. But it becomes difficult or complicated when a man of God, which I don't want to call his name, was able to be too quick to give declaration. You know, during a guerrilla warfare, everything can happen. They say it was just the same like they said there is a ghost town and a man of God comes out and said that please my Christian people should move all the way from Northwest and come to Yaoundé.
But I want to say, before you learn that, because the church has a very important role to play in conflict. I want to add from what he's saying. Look at the role that the church played in South Africa during the apartheid in South Africa. Look at the role that the church played in Congo during the Congolese crisis. But in Cameroon, when church leaders, with church leaders decide to work with the oppressor, as Mr. Joe Waters said, it poses a problem. And that is why Christians will be refused for them not to go to church from some hoodlums. I call them hoodlums because I'm not a supporter of the Ambazonia ideology. I will never be. Okay. I will never. But I'm saying that it is because the church, they have become accomplices to massacre the population. Okay. And I'm saying, as the war continues, it is to continue to enslave the Anglophones.
What I'm saying is, the issue that we are facing in Cameroon is a political issue. So the energy of the church that they are putting forth could be that energy that they could put forth to the government that, please, let's look for a way solution. This is not a moment to be blaming parties that please the separatists or the general attack or the general grandpa. It is the moment to put more energy to the government that, please, the time is now.
The time is now to solve the Anglophone crisis. We don't have much time. We say thank you. Bless baby, we are concluding, please.
Look, we all have a role to play in ensuring that some of the things that we are now seeing today can come to an end. You understand? And well, I've heard some things on this panel that really make me so. I've heard some things that make me shiver. I'm asking myself if Prince was sent to go and solve the problem, whether he will not also go and create more of the problem, you know. Anyway, but please, I think that people need to take their position seriously. I think that some church leaders have not acted with a lot of responsibility. But I also know that the church has been the biggest victim of the Anglophone crisis. Being in a position where you don't know what to say, because anything you say is going to be used against you by one corner or the other. Churches should remain open because people go in there to express themselves to God. It's a religious duty. It's a religious connection. So we cannot stop the churches from operating.
We cannot stop the churches from operating. You wanted to add something?
No, I just wanted to say that my book will come out in October about the magic key to the Anglophone crisis. And I give the government just next year, if they don't solve the crisis, I will send the book to international community, and what will be on Cameroon will be more than them, because I've been working on this issue and I've been the first to distinguish between Anglophone culture and Anglophone problem.
Okay, we say thank you. But 30 seconds, we are concluding. 30 seconds.
Mr. Tabi Clarkson, please, I would like to use this opportunity to step back on our Cameroon government, because the government is the government for the people. That, please, so far we have lost millions of our brothers that are dying on a daily basis. Our economic is going down. The money that we are using, thinking that military option is the best, is the money that we could have used to make our nation to be like Rwanda.
Cameroon is Cameroon. We are in a republic and we are forced to live together. Be you from Kwakwa, be you from Ngole Munkok, or be you from the Adamawade, we are all sons and daughters of this big and wonderful nation called Cameroon. Gentlemen, thanks for coming. It's on this note that we put an end to this, another edition of the Republican debate. Take their appointment same time next week on the same channel. Today we say, may God continue to bless the Republic.